Well, guys, this is it. Well, then this is, right? Welcome to the Noah Messarge Show. I'm Noah Messarge, and we have a great guest with you today. Welcome. Welcome, Noah Messarge, everyone.
Thank you, Josh. Wow. What an honor. The guy's a real professional.
I mean, what can you do?
What can you do, Kristen?
I mean, for me, not much. I'm
You're engaged to him, so you had some sort of willpower to do something.
You know, you have to take it in strides. I mean, this is the rest of my life we're talking about, so, you know. Hi.
Oh, hey, how are you guys? Welcome to the Noah Messarge Show. This is Kristen Adams. Kristen Adams is a set designer.
I was.
You were.
I was.
And now what do you do?
Now I'm an assistant art director.
Okay.
In the art department for film and television.
And how is that different?
From set designing?
Yeah.
So set designer, they draw the architectural plans for these sets that get sent off to construction to be built. As an assistant art director, I take the plans from the set designer. I discuss, so I'm assigned to a art director, and normally the art director and I will discuss the plans and the needs for the set. So I handle things like doorknobs and tile and wallpaper, and I get the production designer and the art director several different selections, and they say yes, no, this, but a little different, and I oversee the ordering and the install.
So you're kind of like a middleman in a sense.
I am. Yeah. Don't cut out the middleman. It's me.
Yeah. And that's how you get paid. Well, not right now because...
Not right now. I'm unemployed, but that's how it is.
How do you feel about the writer's strike, Kristen?
You know, I think writing is so important. Josh loves to write, and I think he's a really great writer. And
terrible host, though.
I mean, needs work. But I think what the writers are fighting for is fair. You know, when they in what they're asking for and their protections, it's very important. Yeah. And the survival of the industry is very important, and they're fighting for that.
How large of a threat is AI?
Very large. It's already been incorporated in some of the projects I've worked on. Mm-hmm. And if we're not careful, I mean, we could be easily replaced.
That's a lot of jobs.
It is. It's a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
Like hundreds of thousands of jobs.
Huge amount of jobs.
People don't realize how many people it takes to make a film.
Yeah. It just doesn't take 2 people.
No.
Or 2,000 people.
No.
It takes between 2,000 and 200,000, I would say, right? Somewhere in between there.
Yeah, for each film?
Yeah.
I think it could. Depends on the film.
Yeah.
When you work on big CGI movies, you have a lot of digital artists putting in all the graphics.
Of course.
And then you have super low budget indies that you wear many hats when you work on an indie film.
Have you yourself worked on an indie film before?
I have worked on many indie films.
That's kind of how I'm assuming that's kind of how you get started in like film too. You have to have like some credentials. You don't just start like on a bigger movie. You kind of have to like work your way up.
Well,
maybe
to a degree. I mean, so I went to an arts high school. I went to an arts college, and then I went straight into working in Atlanta. So yes, I've worked on indies on the side with friends, and all through school you have to make your own school projects, which are basically indies.
Indie films. Mm-hmm.
So degree, yes, you're right. But you can wake up one day and say, I want to work in film, and then go work on a multi-million-dollar feature film.
Wow. What are the chances of me doing that right now, as of today?
As of today, none, because there's no work. But on a normal circumstance, pretty fair. I moved to Atlanta, and then within 3 weeks, I had my first job.
That's some pretty good numbers.
Yeah.
Hey, and we have
And
Cleo.
That's Cleo. She's
Yeah.
on the set today.
She is.
She doesn't have much to say.
Kristen, I have to ask. So these people are on strike right now, protesting against a lot of different issues. How likely is it for them to actually get what they want? Like, how much time can pass before somebody's got to make a move? Like, how many years are we going to go through without film? Like, new movies coming out?
I think it's definitely going to affect next year for sure. But from what I've been reading,
is there an end in sight? Is what I'm asking.
I think there is.
Yeah.
The writers and the studios are getting together at the beginning of August. I've read that they have a date set. So I think the end of the strike could be near. I think I don't know if they'll get everything they want. I'm sure there will have to be compromises. I think the compromises will be minimal because, as I said, this is going to impact film for the next 20 years. And I think we'll see some changes.
What kind of changes do you envision happening?
Well, one of the things that has been in discussion is the scanning of extras, background workers, background actors. And when you work in the art department, you work with many different departments. And one of the departments we work with is with the ADs, the assistant directors. They come up with how many background actors they think we need. So we can discuss with them and they say, oh, for this set, we think we're going to get 200 extras, 200 background. And we say, okay, so that gives us an idea of what we need to do on our end. And with the incorporation of digitally scanned one person and then copied however many times they wish, there's no telling how far that they could go with that. So for us, it'll be different. There will be a shift.
That's really heartbreaking.
It is. It really is. Because for me, I think that AI just shouldn't be incorporated into film at all. Film has been around for so long now, and so many wonderful movies have been made without the use of AI.
That's correct. Yeah.
So I personally think it shouldn't be incorporated at all.
Yeah, you lose the authentic factor as well when you start incorporating more like AI, CGI, and it really doesn't. I like what Martin Scorsese said about like the adventure movies, and he was like, it's a roller coaster. It's not a movie. It's just a very exciting ride because that's how I feel. I've seen like parts of a lot of them, and I'm like, what is this like people are glued to? Like I don't get the shininess of it, like the appeal. Like I just don't understand because it is very like it feels fake, and it just I don't know. I guess I'm just not a fan.
Yeah, I'm definitely not either. And I know that I've had several conversations with people who, when they watch movies that have practical effects versus CGI effects, it makes a difference.
It does.
With the acting, with the performance, and how the film is portrayed on screen. I think it makes a big difference.
Well, there goes one of our lights. No. Oh, I'm sorry.
There we go.
Okay, we're back on.
I looked directly at it, and now I'm a little blind.
What do you? Who do you think are some great practical like directors that use practical effects a lot of the time? Like some of your top favorites.
I think obviously Steven Spielberg was the front runner for a ton of practical effects. Some of the old school still use practical effects. Wes Anderson still uses a ton of models in his films, which in a way are practical and effects and not using CGI or digital material. And then who else? Greta Gerwig with Barbie. I mean, if you just even see the stills from the sets of Barbie, I mean, they're just incredible.
Nice. That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I'm glad to see it's being used, but I would like to see it being used more, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is my one, qualm with, like film. Well, that's cool. Kristen, what are some of your favorite films?
It's so hard to say. There are so many great ones. I, 'cause, 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 ' Oh, on the spot, thinking on the fly.
We can come back to this question if you.
I
if
might
you
need
want.
to because there's so many great ones. I don't even know if I have some of top favorites. Yeah, we'll have to come back to that
Sure,
one. Let me think on that
we'll,
one.
We'll round off the
Yeah,
episode.
circle back.
With that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Kristen, what's a day in the life like right now? You know, you're unemployed. What are you doing?
What do I do with my
What
life?
do you do with the hours in a day when you're employed?
I try to stick to a routine as much as possible. I'm trying not to get out of my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
So I'm still waking up really early. I take some time in the morning to myself and I read. And then I do some exercise. I take Cleo for walks. And then I try to do one project a day, whether that's laundry or... Do you see the spider web? The spider web's crazy.
What?
It like went right in front of your face and like...
Oh yeah, I see it.
Spider wants to be in your show as well.
Yeah.
So I try to do one project a day, and that's whether that's going back onto my computer and drafting a floor plan or just trying to keep the gears in motion and not slip
Seize
into
up,
or slip into depression.
Yeah. That's an easy one too. Yeah. To
Yeah.
slip into. Okay. Well, that's good.
It feels a bit like quarantine, except you can go out and talk to people
Interesting.
because you can't spend money, but you can still go out and enjoy life.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you feel have like been people asking you for like help and being like, "Hey, I know you're unemployed. Can you help me move this weekend? I got some like, because I feel like I know people who are unemployed, and if I call them up, I'm like, "Hey, what are you doing, man?" And they're like, "I'm just sitting around." I'm like, "Doing what?" Like what's but so like. Do you feel like you're getting called like by friends a lot more to help out with just random stuff, or like do you feel like you want to like donate some of your time to like stuff that you usually wouldn't do?
No, I haven't. Most of my friends in Atlanta are in the film industry. Not all, but most. So there hasn't been any far as like big changes that needed to be done in any of my friends' lives. So not so much on that way. Yeah, unfortunately, no. I wish I could add more to that.
No, that's. I mean, it's not a bad thing,
Yeah, no one's needed to move a couch or... Actually, that's not true. We did help somebody move a couch.
Okay, so there was one instance.
There was one instance. Now that
Wow.
I'm thinking about it.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did move a couch from a house to a storage facility.
Have you thought about just like going out and working at Walmart and being like, I've always wanted to try this, or just like get a really shitty job somewhere like a McDonald's and be like, you know what, I have this free time. I want to experience what this would be like in like a different lifetime. Have you ever had that urge to do anything?
Well, if the strike continues any longer, I will definitely be looking for all kinds of alternative
Okay.
work. At this time, I haven't, because I have a trip planned with my mother in September.
Oh, wow. Tell us about
Yeah.
that. Where are you going?
We're going to Europe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sightseeing?
We're
anything?
sightseeing. She's never left the country, so I'm taking her to Europe.
Well, that's very exciting. I'm very happy for your mother, Kristen.
Yeah.
That's great. How old is your mother? If that's not too personal of a question.
I'm not sure she would want me to say,
Okay.
but
We can just do
We'll s-
ballpark.
we'll say 50s.
50s. Okay. Well, that's good. That's a good time, to go like do stuff.
She's still young. Yeah.
Oh, 50
She's
is a new 37.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
To say that I'm going to be 37 in a few years, kind of. but I'm going to be hitting 30 next year.
Yeah. Well, that's a milestone right there.
It is a milestone.
How do you feel when you like turn into a new like era of your life? Do you feel, I don't know, do you have any like certain feelings that might spike up during that time? Like when I turned 20, I had a lot of different things spike up in my just like own being. It was a very confusing time the first couple of months. But the weird thing is I did not experience that when I was like 19 or 19 and a half. But as soon as I turned 20, I was like, something's going to happen. I don't know what it is. Like I just had a lot of different like weird feelings about that. But do you also have something similar where like when you start a new era of your life going into your 30s?
I'm definitely
Do you
excited
expect-
for my 30s.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm hoping Josh and I will be getting married shortly after I turn 30. And it's going to basically be a whole new chapter of my life.
Yeah.
Being married in my 30s. And a lot of people dread their 30s. I'm really looking forward to my 30s. I'm really excited. Because I feel like 30s is like, it's a good decade.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not broke like you are in your 20s. Well, I'm broke now, but when I reach 30, I won't be. But having that, I'm older. I've learned a lot in my life, and I'm excited to see where this next decade takes me.
That's really exciting. I feel like 30 also is an age that like you get respect, like the same respect as a 40-year-old or a 50-year-old. But if you're 29 and a half, people don't give a fuck. Like I feel like they just don't care because you're like, oh, they're in their 20s.
Yeah.
But 30 is like it's like a very prestigious, like you're entering a new club of life.
Yeah, I definitely. Well, I don't know. I hope so anyway.
Yeah.
Some of my friends who are in their 30s, they go, and you say, "Oh, you're just turning 30? Oh, you baby." And I'm like, I don't feel like a baby.
Do you think people in their 50s, like people in their 60s, do that to people in their 50s?
Oh, I'm probably.
That's
I'm
gotta
sure.
suck.
I think it's.
It's gotta suck.
You do it to any age. When I think back to, someone as a 16-year-old, I think of them in that same way also. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're so young, you can do like whatever you want in the world. Like, the world is right in front of you, and so I feel like you probably do it to any age ever. I don't know, how do you feel looking back to someone who's 16 or 10?
Kristen, they have so much potential.
Exactly.
So much potential. Oh, man. If I can go back to when I was 16,
What would you tell your 16-year-old self?
it's going to get better, and then it's going to get even worse than it was, and then it's going to get better again.
Yeah. I would say that would...
And I feel like that pattern repeats throughout your entire lifetime.
Peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
But the valleys are what makes the peaks so great.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's like sometimes you need to go through a little bit of hardship to come out on the other side feeling... Accomplished is not the right word, but...
More confident
learn the
your
lesson.
ability. Yeah.
What didn't kill you made you stronger.
That's a great... So, Kristen.
It's a great sentiment.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, 30s, it's coming up, going on a trip with your mother. That's very exciting. You mentioned that your mother never, has been out of the country before. Have you been out of the country?
I have. I've been out of the country a few times. I've been very fortunate to have traveled.
Yeah.
I've been in the... I think I've been to 4 or 5 different countries in the last 4 or 5 years. I think I've been to basically a country a year for the last 5 years, except for 2020.
Have you learned any lessons from like traveling? Do you see the world differently?
Oh, 100%. Definitely. I think just being able to talk to people and who live a different way and
Eat different foods.
Experience life in a different way is so insightful. It makes you so much more whole, like, I don't say whole, but mindful of
Mm.
your own life, and if you want to make changes. Before I went to Spain, I hated olives. And then I went to Spain and I had
Why?
olives. I thought they were so gross.
Olives?
Olives. I hated them.
What?
And I couldn't tell you. They were gross to me. I went to Spain and I ate lots and lots of olives because they were so delicious.
Time out though. Like how do you go to Spain and then your point of view on olives completely change in a 360?
That's how good they are in Spain.
So you're saying we just get really bad olives in the U.S.?
Yes.
Do you eat olives now?
From the farmer's market.
Okay, but you won't go to Walmart and pick up a can of olives.
No.
Do you pick up a can of corn, like when you're at Walmart?
Not anymore.
There was a point in your life you did though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My parents cook, but they don't like to cook.
Okay.
And they both worked full-time jobs with 2 kids. So there she goes again, making an appearance.
Wow.
Looking at the camera. They had 2 full-time jobs, 2 kids. So they made meals that were convenient and cheap and easy for them as parents, which I don't blame at all. But that meant a whole lot of like canned
Yeah.
foods and instant meals, things of that nature. And so when I got out on my own, I started cooking with
The microwave.
I started with the microwave.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, I started with peanut butter and jelly and ramen noodles out of a cup. That's what I spent the majority of my post-college, the 2 years after college.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I lived off of. But now I try to buy from farmers markets and eat more healthy,
Get something fresh.
fresh.
Yeah, I think that's the key.
Not necessarily always organic, but fresh. I think
Yeah.
is key for me.
I'm still shocked that your point of view on olives changed immediately after going to Spain. That's like,
It's like my point of view on coffee.
really? You did what?
Oh yeah, so like coffee was just that thing
Yeah.
I had in the morning to like help me be alive. And then when I went to Morocco, it became an experience. You know, sitting down and having a cup of coffee was an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's like wanting to. Josh, you made that really bright.
What the fuck is going on here? What is my... Kristen,
I can't even
you're
see you.
you're an executive producer on the show. Can you tell me what the crew's doing right now? Because I can't explain. What's going on? What?
The crew's getting unruly.
Okay. Total restart on the coffee thing. I will say this, though. I had a similar view of coffee because my family, you know, they would make the drip, just a pot of coffee that would be there all day and just like getting darker and just like more thick. It was like a witch's brew, Kristen. It was really, really some fucking evil shit going on in that pot of coffee. But I think later on in life, I started working at a coffee shop, and it like renewed my idea of coffee and like what it can be, because it's beautiful. Coffee,
Yeah.
the smell, the aromas, the process of making it, the beans, the pressurized water. Do you like espresso?
Yeah, I do. After Morocco, I do. I don't know what it is.
You can just like sip on espresso, and it's like amazing.
Yeah, you can. It's just it goes into that whole thing. It's an experience.
Yeah.
It's not just let me not be a zombie anymore. Let me like sit down, have a nice cup. I actually saw a really great video on Instagram. I think it was a week or two ago, where it was a story of a story. So this person had said that someone had told them that in France, you can always tell an American because they're holding a cup of coffee.
Mm.
And they say in France, we don't do coffee to go. We have coffee to stay. And in America, the mindset is go, 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 go. So we get our coffees to go. We get our food to go. We text on the go. We
Text while driving.
text while driving. We very seldom
Stop and enjoy.
And I would like to do that more.
Do you
Stop
think,
and enjoy.
Do you think if you went to Cuba for a week, you would come back smoking cigars?
I don't think Josh would let me. And I say that because a lot of my family has smoked. Me and my mom and my brother are the only ones in the family who don't smoke. So actually, I've been around secondhand smoke so much that I actually crave cigarettes and
You do?
cigars. Yes.
Oh, no.
Yes. So it's all good.
Making me feel awkward here, Kristen.
For shame.
Okay.
No, it's totally fine. I've been around secondhand smoke my whole life. But because of that, I've been very adamant about just resisting the urge. So if I went to Cuba and all of a sudden I came back
With just a box.
With
It's like
just
Kramer from
boxes and boxes
Seinfeld.
of
Like
Cuban
when he had
cigars.
all those Cuban cigars and then he burned down a cabin. Like
Who did?
Kramer, Seinfeld.
Oh.
When he was like smoking all those
actually
Cuban.
never. I was never really into Seinfeld.
You should check it out. I'm not a judgmental
Maybe it'll be
person.
different now that I'm older.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't find it all that funny.
Understandable. I mean, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you have to have a certain taste for that humor, I feel like.
Would you say Seinfeld was like your go-to sitcom?
Yes, I would actually say that. We grew up with a lot of Everybody Loves Raymond, which I think summarizes my family very well. Very argumentative, very loud, very Italian. But I remember when I watched Seinfeld for the first time, I was like, what is this? And it was like Jerry doing a bit. And he was like, what's the deal with pickles? Like, And I was like, what is this? Like, it opened up a new world for me, basically. I was like 8, I think. And I was like, this is amazing. And I really loved like that aspect of like the stand up and then like this group of weird friends that should totally not be friends. Like they all kind of hate each other in certain ways. And I don't know, it was just like a very different show. And I really liked it at a young age. But I would say Seinfeld was definitely one of like a sitcom that my family watched. Cheers, also a great one. I got into Cheers a little bit later in life, but I found that to be very enjoyable. What kind of sitcoms did you grow up with?
I just want to follow up real quick on that one.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're gonna find your bar where everybody knows your name?
I hope one day.
One day?
Well, I'm not even 21 yet, so technically
You can't
I can't
at
but
this moment, but you'll be 21 this year,
That's true.
and
I
then
think at
you
that
can
point.
start hunting for your home bar,
Yeah.
like Cheers. But as far as some of my favorite sitcoms, I was always really into Fresh Prince. Was a classic for me. Oh man, I watched so many. Full House, Family Matters.
Kirk Cameron, classic.
Yeah, like what was the other one? It was just on the tip of my head. The Cosby Show was always a great one. But also, the way I grew up is I was also really into, well, I wasn't really into, but I was exposed a lot to even older shows, not as much as sitcoms, but Little House on the Prairie and
Andy Griffith.
Andy Griffith, always a classic.
What the hell is wrong with Barney? Every episode, Barney's like,
He-
but Ange!
He's just a good old boy.
Is that the first like example of good old boys on television, you think?
Probably. I'm trying to think of anything older.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Dick Van Dyke.
What was the first example of domestic, like, spousal abuse on television?
Spousal abuse?
I'm thinking of The Honeymooners. I feel like that really shined a light in that genre. I feel like a lot of people might have started beating their wives more after watching this show. Possibly. I don't have any evidence to prove that.
You know, I never saw that one.
Oh, you should totally check it out.
I should watch marital abuse as I get ready to get married.
Well, I don't think it's played in a comedic aspect, Kristen. Like it's a very funny and it's very slapsticky kind of like I'm gonna beat the shit out of you, and then they end up like making
This
up
sounds like
afterwards.
some Roseanne type of.
Yeah, a little bit of Roseanne for sure.
You know, I will check it out. I think you should always stay open-minded. I will check it out.
You should check it out. You should definitely check it out.
This smoke is lingering. It's
It
wanting
is.
to be
It
a part
is.
of
And
the
this
show
is the
as
first.
well.
This is the first episode of the Noah Messarge Show by a campfire.
Campfire edition.
Yeah.
How do you like the campfire edition? Do you think there would be a repeat?
I think so. I think there's definitely a chance of this happening in the future. For sure.
Yeah. What if our fire goes out?
Well,
Will
then
we
it's
take-
no longer a campfire episode. It's just outside next to a dead fire episode, which doesn't have the same kind of ring to it.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's getting awful low. It's getting kind of sad.
Can we get somebody to stir up the fire? Somebody.
Anyway.
Hey, Kristen, how do you like being a executive producer on the Noah Messarge Show?
You know, I gotta admit, it was a surprise to me.
Oh, it was? How so?
In the sense that I didn't know. And then Josh told me he put us as executive producers. I said, what?
What? Yeah. Oh, I could have sworn I sent you guys like a memo about that. It's like-
That memo got lost in the mail.
oh man, I'm sorry.
In the Ethernet.
Yeah. Well, thank you, whoever that was. Is he even on the team? I don't know. Might be just like hillbilly. It's like a Stephen King book, like Man of Fire, like.
Jason?
Oh, that's Jason. I had no idea.
Who did with the fire?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Is it Jason? Okay.
It's Jason.
It was Jason.
I don't know why, but I feel like I have to have a particular way I say all of your names.
How do you say my name?
How do I say your name? I think it's go Noah.
Do you say Noah like that?
I think so. And I always say Jason. I don't know why, but it has to be that
How
way.
do you say Josh's name? Josh.
Baby, 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 baby.
What-
That's how I call Josh. Baby,
Bubba?
baby.
It's kind of like BB from Frasier.
Oh, more Frasier.
Do you like Frasier?
Oh no, we were talking about Seinfeld, weren't we?
We were talking about sitcoms, actually.
I haven't
Excuse
watched
you.
Frasier either. I know. I was
Josh,
in a,
were you
it
aware
sounds
of
like I was
this?
in a whole different category of sitcoms than you were.
It's okay. You know, it
I
brings
was all
a little,
about Nick at Night.
Nick at Night.
Anything on Nick at Night.
Yeah.
Do they even do Nick at Night anymore?
No.
No?
No, that's
sad.
it's long gone.
Sad. What do you think would be on Nick at Night now?
Oh, right now? Like
Yeah.
today's?
Like today's time.
Probably reruns of Drake and Josh. Maybe a little bit of like, what's the guy, Dan Schneider? That's the guy from the Redskins. What's the guy? Sorry. I'm sorry, the Washington football team. I fucked that up. Anyways. A lot of Subway commercials, probably.
Oh, a lot of Subway commercials.
Although
there's a. I hear there was like they have a deli slicer now in Subway. They're probably promoting
how are
their
they
deli
making? How are they
slicers.
slicing their meats before?
I think they were shipping them in pre-sliced.
They were shipping pre-sliced meats in before.
Yes.
That's like against the law in some states.
They've corrected themselves now.
Wow, I can't believe that. So is every Subway like getting a deli slicer?
To my knowledge, yes.
And is it going to be like a displayed item? Like, hey, we have this.
I would hope so because
Here.
they sent out a lot of commercials about it. So I'm hoping that it's front and center and shiny and has a big arrow.
You know what they should start doing? They should start selling deli slicers.
Oh, they should just get out of the sandwich business.
Well,
and
no,
move
no,
into
like
deli
they
slicer?
the main business is selling subs, but like they have like just boxes, like crates of deli slicers in the back, like wholesale deli slicers, and they're like, hey, if you buy like $100 worth of subs.
Oh, I was going to ask you, how many subs do you think it would take to get a free deli slicer?
276.
Okay, Subway, call us. We got ideas.
Yeah, we're really brainstorming right now.
What'd you say? What was the number?
276.
Why that number?
I feel very passionate.
About that number?
Yes.
Is that your favorite number?
No.
What's
not
your
even.
favorite number?
61
Oh,
and a half.
I was about to say, I can't wait to hear the last number. 61 and a half.
It's the best number.
And is it 1/2 or is it 0.5?
It's 0.5.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
That's like the hillbilly way. I like the 1/2. It's very classy. Like when you see that, we're not even going by the notes at this point.
Do you have notes for me?
I do. Well, you know what,
What's
Kristen?
on the notepad?
I like. This is my backup and start in case if I start
You like our improv?
I think this is good. I think we have a good thing going on right now. Why would I want to ruin it with this piece of paper with ink on it? Like, there's no reason for that.
Paper and pens, who needs them?
Yeah.
When you can have genuine conversation.
I think this is the most free-flowing, natural.
If we can, I'd like to backtrack just slightly.
Sure.
You got to ask me. I would like to ask you. So as you're turning 21 this year,
Sure.
that's also a
It is a milestone.
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 How do you feel about this upcoming milestone in your life?
I'm excited with a decent portion of anxiety and also maybe like a quarter of optimism.
What is the optimism geared towards? In career, in relationship, in life in general?
In life in general.
Yeah.
Life in general, yeah. Every day I wake up, I'm like, okay, here's a new start.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's
It's crazy to me that you can like wake up one day and completely change your life.
You can.
You can totally do that.
Yeah, you can.
We need more people doing that.
As-
Like Jason.
Like Jason?
Like Jason.
That's very pointed.
I'm just saying like
He's very
Jason,
stoic,
not
no
Jason,
emotion.
not Jason. I'm sorry, but Jasons.
Jasons of the world.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very troubled name.
I thought he was going to leave us.
I thought that too. Kristen, I was like, I thought he was waving goodbye. I was like, see you guys. He wasn't even facing us. He was just like.
He said, I'm done. Where were we bouncing off of?
21. Turning 21.
Turning
yeah.
21.
I'm excited to drink at like a bar. I think that's going to be a fun experience. I'm very bad at self-control though. I feel like just like in general, like in my life, and not with everything. Like that sounds bad, like saying I'm bad with self-control, but with things I like, I can easily spiral down into just like being like, "Hey, you son of a bitch," and just like just like swerving on the road and just like giving people the finger. I have never done that. I should state I never have done that, but I can see myself doing that, and that's the scary part.
I feel like that's what your 20s are. Overindulgence in a way.
You think?
Yeah, I do. 'Cause you have to. You've moved out of your parents' home.
Yeah. I should overindulge.
Well, I'm not saying that, but
Right?
I think part of it is
exactly, Kristen, you're so right. What the fuck have I been doing?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to figure out the things you like, experiment in a way, and find things that are your passion. I feel like that's a lot of what my 20s have been, still are. I still got a few more months.
What are you going to do leading up to the month of you turning 30? Or do you have any more like last minute, like before I turn 30 plans? I mean, there's really nothing that you can't do when you're 30 than, you can already do in your 20s.
Yeah.
That was a really butchered way of saying that. But I think that I get my point across.
I think it'll be because the wedding is very close after my birthday. I think it'll be my bachelorette party will be my last hurrah.
Ah.
Yeah. I think that'll be it.
Is it a myth that bachelorette parties are just littered with male strippers. Is that a myth, or is that something you guys actually do?
I don't know
your
about
free time?
littered, but I mean maybe littered with dick-shaped items. Yes,
Ah,
that's very true. But it also depends on the bachelorette party.
is that funny? Is that like, it's a dick? Guys, it's a straw that looks like a dick.
Been to those parties.
Do you just state all the dicks in the room? Is that like the enjoyment of the party?
Pin the dick on the man.
Pin the dick on the man?
Yeah.
That sounds dangerous. How much do you get paid for doing that kind of shit?
Well, it's not a real person.
Okay.
Yeah, poster on the wall.
All right.
Blindfold him, spin him around, put the dick on the.
I kind of want to see it with a real person.
Oh man, I recently just hosted a
You did?
bachelorette party.
Yeah?
At my house. That was an experience. But thankfully, there were no strippers, because I would not have wanted a stripper in my house.
Yeah. You don't want random dicks off the street.
No dick slinging in the living room.
No dick slinging. There's only one dick.
Well, there were none in that house. Not then. But generally, yes, one in the house.
How do you feel about calling people dicks? Like using that term on people, being like, "You're such a dick." Like, it's kind of funny, right?
I think it's only appropriate in certain situations.
Really?
Yes, it's. Yeah, I think
Do you think that carries a lot of weight?
when I call someone a dick, it's very pointed.
I think you called me a dick in the past on a cell phone call, but like not me
Oh,
directly.
I would never call you
not
a
me
dick.
directly, not me directly, but like about. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's just move on from that. So,
Yes.
but my bachelorette
Dicks.
party, dicks, hopefully will not be involved.
Do you think people after that became a more popular slang for penis? Do you think like parents stopped naming their children Dick or Dickard?
I'm sure it
we need
deterred
like a chart of like the people named Dicks in 2020 and 2022.
I'm
like
sure you could look that up.
it's probably pretty low.
Well, it's not so much. It's not so much the name Dick. Is the Dick
It's
come
Richard.
from Richard?
It does.
Yeah.
But Dick
so
Van
Richard
Dyke, he was a dick.
was he?
Not a dick, but his name was Dick.
Yes.
Yes.
I thought you were saying he was a dick.
I was saying he was a dick in
He's
the
a
term
dick,
that
but
like his
he's not
name was
a
Dick.
dick.
Therefore, like when I was
He's a
talking
Dick
about
Van
Jason
Dyke.
earlier, Jason, Dicks.
All right. I'm sure there are plenty of people still named Richard. I'm sure they don't want their child nicknamed Dick at a young age.
Yeah.
And when they're older, that's
what
their
kind of
preference.
trauma does that cause for a child? Do you think like not based
Weird
off on anything?
nicknames?
Uh,
Or just being called Dick?
Harsh nicknames, but also Dick.
Yeah, I can think it can have definitely an effect on a child and people and sensitivity towards their own name.
Were you given a insensitive name as a child
No.
by like mean little
Well, I mean, by
kids?
bullies,
Yeah.
sure.
Do you remember some of those?
I used to. I had really hairy arms when I was young.
Mhm.
And one kid would call me Werewolf Girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny.
pretty-
It's funny
yeah.
now. Sure. That one made me cry.
Okay.
Yeah. Not in front of him. But never let him see you cry.
Yeah. That's the key.
Go home and cry. Which I did, but I didn't cry in front of him. I think that one was probably the worst.
That's a pretty
It was pretty mellow.
That's pretty mellow. It's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like maybe for a girl it might hit like a little bit harder.
yeah, because I think like you're supposed to have lots of head hair but nothing else. So being called werewolf girl was a bit harsh, but also a bit mellow because that was the worst of it.
Do you feel like that can change? Like, do you think in like 20 years from now, girls will be like rocking just like long armpit hair? Do you think like history repeats itself, like back in the 70s, like when there was all those hairy women?
I know girls
like,
who now
walking
who
the street.
don't shave.
And how are their relationships?
They're
like,
in very healthy relationships. I don't
great.
know if it's necessarily you're asking about women. I think you're asking about men.
Yes.
Because when I'm single, when I was single, shaving was not on
a concern.
the agenda.
It was not on the docket.
I mean, that was not a concern.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about men than, I mean, maybe women. If you like to shave every day, I find it annoying to shave every day. But if that's what you like, then that's great. But as far as me, shaving and being perfect from head to toe is not on the docket. There are so many other things that need to be done.
Like bills.
Like bills. And Cleo. Cleo is my dog.
She is.
She's my baby.
Yeah.
Which I love her so much. And she needs attention.
Do you think Cleo would appreciate you more if you shaved? Sorry.
Who can say? Maybe that's an experiment to be done.
I think there's some value into doing some more investigation on that.
Yeah. Maybe I, do 2 different experiments, see if she loves me more when I'm fully shaved. Shave my head and everything.
Yeah.
Or would I identify more with her? Because we both have brown hair.
Oh. I didn't think about that.
Only the experiment will say.
Yeah. Well, when do you want to do that?
I mean,
what's today's date? Like,
we
should do it before the or like, would it be better to do it after the wedding?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like, let's put that on the agenda. Josh, are you okay with that? If like Kristen shaves her head for science?
For
a little bit of
love
both.
Of science. I'm not opposed to shaving my head. I think people put it's hair.
It is hair.
And I can rock a bald look.
Yeah. I bet you can.
I'll serve it up. Like, it'll grow back.
Yeah. Mine won't. Because
No?
I'm balding. But like, yeah, yours will.
Well, we're all balding.
That's true.
We're all going to be bald anyway.
Yeah. If you live long enough, you will eventually be bald. I think that's a good sentiment to put out there for the people that are already bald when they're like 20.
Yeah, and
it makes them feel less bad for having terrible genetics.
And that's the thing is that like I don't put that much weight into it.
Mm-hmm.
If Josh's hair is not the reason I'm with him. So if I were to go bald or if he were to go bald, if I were to shave my head, I would hope he would still love me. But after we're married, he can't go anywhere. So.
That's true. You tied him down at that point. I feel like we covered a lot today, Kristen, tonight.
Yeah. We hit our hour mark.
50 minutes, 51 minutes.
Okay.
We have enough time to give some closing statements, and you never named your favorite movies.
I didn't. I guess that can be my closing statement. Huh?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Still thinking.
Okay. we can come around again. Circle, another hour. Another 51 minutes. Let's do it. Yeah, we can do it.
No, I think some of my favorite movies include, I don't want to be so generic and say things like Jurassic Park, because, of course, Jurassic Park is a classic for most people. Or like Indiana Jones, the originals. but those are some of the ones that come to my mind. I will say that some of the ones that inspired me to go into film would have to be like the Jurassic Park, Indiana Jones, oddly enough, White Chicks. Have you seen White Chicks? It's hilarious. It's so funny. And then kind of come up with a strong last one. Okay, so one of my favorite movies, which is not a popular movie, and actually most people don't like it, but it's one of my favorites. It's called What Dreams May Come, and it's with Robin Williams, Cuba Gooding Jr. And it's a very sad movie, but it's also a very hopeful and romantic movie, which I really love. And the sets are, and actually the effects are quite beautiful in it.
It's very nice. I haven't heard of that movie before.
If you need a good cry, it's great, but also uplifting in the end.
Guys, wow, Kristen, that was perfect. I couldn't ask for anything better.
Hope that all satisfies. I'm sorry if anything was too offensive with too many dicks.
No, I think we had the perfect amount of dicks.
Okay, great.
In this episode.
Well, thanks for having me, Noah.
Hey, Kristen, thank you for coming out.
And I do want to say,
yeah,
I didn't get to say it earlier, I enjoy being one of your executive producers.
Wow, I appreciate that. That means a lot, even though you weren't aware.
I wasn't aware, but I now that I'm aware, I hope I'm giving some helpful information.
This is very enlightening for me. It's very special.
And the light went out, so there's our cue.
The light out? Yeah. Okay, guys. Light's back on. Okay. I don't know what that means, but we're gonna cut it there, guys. Thank you for watching the Noah Messarge Show. Today's guest was Kristen Adams. Kristen, thank you for coming once again. Guys, I hope you have a great night, and
good night.
Good night.
Thank you.